What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are traditional fans with opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. My Hero Academia Vigilantes, Episode 3. So in this one, Koichi has to deal with Knuckle Duster and Pop Step, basically going to his apartment and making themselves at home. Like Pop Step puts like this curtain that she can use to change behind. Then like then also they're dealing with all stuff with like the instant villains. So Pop has one of her concerts. Then there's this uh guy named Teruo who has like some eel like quirk. Basically, like, so Jube and Ichimoku, who are these middle schoolers who are fans of Pop, who Hoichi befriended, like previously. Um, basically, like Pop's doing one of her concerts, and you know, Teruo wants to shake her hand, but he can't. He wants to get past the line, so he uses the drug on himself to like the IDO trigger, and he turns to an instant villain that looks like a giant eel. So Koichi's idea is to use Pop as a lure, and basically as like she'll offer to shake his hand, then he gets the handshake, then he wants to hug her and then kiss her. So he's like a very obsessed fan, but they're able to subdue him. But like Knuckle Duster and Crawler are able to subdue him. Then he calms down. He befriends like Jube and Ichimoku, and then when they go to try to learn more about the and like so when Koichi and Pop Step and Pop try to go like learn more about the who gave Teruo the drugs, it's revealed that so there's like this high school girl named Kuin Hachisuka who's secretly a part-time villain. She has this quirk called Queen Bee that allows her to like deliver like the the trigger drug using like her bees. And so she just starts like turning a bunch of people into like instant villains randomly. And so like a bunch of heroes arrive to help stop it. Those heroes include All Might, Endeavor, Midnight, the original Inganium. Remember, this is a prequel, so Inganium can still run. Let's see. Best Genius was there. Present Mick, whatever. Eraserhead. Um, crap, the suit hero. I can't remember the name. Anyway, but basically a bunch of the heroes arrive to help deal with them, but they can't deal with all of them. So like Knuckle Duster destroys one of the bees, but he can't find the culprit. And so and Kuin lures away Teruo, so we know there's a chance that I guess Teruo is gonna be a problem. Let's see. It's been a while since I last read Vigilantes, so I'm trying to remember what else happens with Teruo. I know Kuin's gonna be very important. Can't remember how important Taro is in future chapters, but I do know it's all stuff with Kuin's gonna be very interesting. And I like this episode. It's a good setup for Kuin as a villain, and you still have the running gag of the crawler being called Crawler. That's gonna be a running gag that sticks around for a while. Yeah, I really like this episode, and I look forward to next week's. Zatsu Tabi, That's Journey, Episode 3. So in this one, Chika, well, at first, she goes to like this hot spring with Koyomi, Hatsunuma, so who's like one of her friends, and yeah, they spend the night at the hot spring. Then her next Chica's next trip is she goes with like her high school friend, like, well, I think she knew her in like middle school or something. Basically, they knew each other, but I think this girl named Yui Unoki, who's still a high schooler, and so Yui wants to go with her, guess as a way to the one up Koyomi. And so basically, so Yui and Chika, they go to like this trolley. So I guess there's some famous trolley or something. Now ends up being shut down, but they still finally have a good time. But it's Golden Week, so they have trouble finding a place to stay and to eat. Now they find a place to stay, so then they take a stroll through the area just to, enjoy it. And based on the visuals, it looked to be a very, nice area. So I mean, I've never been to Japan, so I don't know. So I haven't seen any of these locations for myself. Like that, although that would be an interesting country to go to. I will say that. And so, yeah, and Chico wants to get more assistant work so she can fund these trips because they ain't cheap. Like like really hurts the wallet. So yeah, basically it was two trips showing this episode instead of just one. Yeah, I thought it was a little interesting episode. You have, Chica's dynamic with Kaomi in the beginning and Yui in like the second half of the episode. I thought it was funny. I thought it was, interesting. It's just a simple like slice of life thing, basically. Chica going to different locations and learning more, but and like basically hanging out with her friends, trying to, I guess, it's a way to unwind and get some escape from the bull crap, like of her not, you know, having success in getting a manga made. And yeah, I thought it was a decent episode. This isn't going to be like some big time hit. Like the show's not going to be some big time hit, but it's going to be one of those fun little series that appear every now and then. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, so far it's like a 7 out of 10, and 7 out of 10 is good. Still a good show. Because I would say like seven in a 100 point scale, 70 to 100 is good. I'd say this is like a 70, right? So far, it's a simple little series, you know, which was nice to have. It's nice to have the simple stuff, gives people a chance to unwind, kind of like what Chica's doing with all her trips. And yeah, I thought this was a good episode. Watson, episode 10. So in this one, the clinic has to like they're asked to amputate the hand of this guy who has like alien hand syndrome, which is like some like disease thing, basically where there's some like issue like with I guess how the brain connects with the rest of the body, where basically a hand can act out of control. Like where basically it's almost like it has a mind of its own. And so that's basically what this rich kid has, who like he wants the hand amputated. Watson does not want to go that drastic. He wants to find other options, so they think of this like paralyzing drug that can maybe decrease the motor function of the hand to where it's not able to act as well, but basically seemingly the hand pushes this rich kid's brother on in front of a bus and kills him. And so there's like a whole murder investigation to see like whether or not it is the hand that did it or the actual rich kid. And seemingly it's the hand. Now it's revealed that there was some. Now it's revealed that the guy, like the patient, has this like it was referred to as a promiscuity drug, where promiscuity gene, where it's like basically like he acts a lot more on impulse to where he gets a lot of money issues, so impulsively spends money, impulsively gets in affairs. Like that's the kind of gene this alleged promiscuity gene is. I don't know if I would blame genetics for someone cheating on their spouse or screwing around. I don't know if I would blame for that. And like so basically like Watson becomes suspicious once he learns of it. And then once he sees like the footage where he sees like the guy like look at the bus basically right before like he pushes his brother, because that makes him believe that like you know the it was a murder and not an accident. And so like Watson meets like this detective for Philly named Lestrade, who is basically is a Lestrade is a character from like old school like Sherlock Holmes story. Now it's not like the actual one, like one basically like so it's a gender swapped like version of the character, and instead of being from the UK is from Pittsburgh, kind of like Watson is a basically a black guy from Pittsburgh instead of a white guy from the UK. They try to move it all to the US. I'm still not a fan of any of that. I'm like, keep it in the UK, keep the characters looking like the characters. The show would have been so much better as a detective story. So it looks like with Lestrade, there looks like because like Watson and Lestrade, they promised to work together more in the future. So it's like a lot more detective stuff's gonna come in future seasons, if they actually make feature seasons or well feature episodes in general. So basically, like so due to the alien hand thing, for a little bit they can't prove that it wasn't the hand that did it. But Watson comes up with a little more poetic justice where he learns that so the rich guy and his brother, like their father had a bunch of illegitimate children, including like the son of the this one employee at the estate, who also all have that gene. So basically, the inheritance becomes divided up, which basically like basically however much money that the rich guy was gonna get, he's no longer able to get that much, which allows for this guy who like there was some like chemistry guy who basically he was paying to like see how much acid he could pour himself without in order to like show make it seem like the hand was like causing chemical burns on the rich guy. And so like basically this chemist was like bribed to like basically pour acid on himself to see how much acid it would take. And basically the guy, that the guys, that chemist was like, well, money's money. Then once the money starts flowing, he takes the Cleon's offer for an intern in exchange for like um giving his testimony to Lestrade, which seemingly allows for the rich guy to be arrested. And so it's possible that this new character, if it's a character that's going to be in for like a lot of like the show, like if it's gonna be like a recurring character, or it was just a guest character who would just be like a one of an employee who's just not shown. Because there could be employees that aren't shown, like in it, like like with any show that involves like a company like setting, you have these unseen employees. Like even if it's like reality shows, you see it happen. So it just could be a guest character, or it's someone to replace like Darian, because Darian, as we know from last episode, was told she has a few months to find a job or she's fired because of what happened last week with her sister, with all of her scummy actions. Basically, Darian's dealing with the stress from it. She gives something to Watson with some concessions. I guess as a way to see if she can negotiate her way, like to stay at the clinic, and then you have a lot of stuff that's going on, and then let's see, like it's Endirium, like who was also blackmailed by Moriarty. So like basically like so Sasha Lubbock, who's like basically tries to like befriend her, thinks of Deering as a friend. Deering's like, look, I like you. That's why I can't be your friend because my friends always get hurt. Now, in her past, it seems a lot of her friends get hurt by her. So I mean, a lot of that was a lot of the friends being hurt seems to be her fault. And Deering basically says that like, yeah, basically the patient was her sister, and she was removed from the program because of that. How she used nepotism to get a patient on the program, and then then basically, how she's lied on a lot of stuff, a lot of her action, and then how she murdered her own father, to stop the beatings. Yeah. And that someone's blackmailing her with all the information. She doesn't say it's Moriarty. She doesn't even know it's Moriarty probably. And so basically this episode, like, it wasn't a good episode. Like this show has not been good. I don't know how in the world it got this many episodes. I don't know how it got greenlit. But yeah, this episode sucked. It was like I feel like there's more they could have done with the alien hand thing and leaned in it more into like how absurd it is. And the whole thing about whether or not the guy could be blamed for something that his hand did without communicating with his brain. Like that could be interesting to cover more. They didn't do that. So yeah, I was not a fan of this episode. And that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.